they're willing to make. The stories about friends leaving the hometown and no longer remembering where they're from is one that is told by society because society is the majority. The majority of people get left behind. If you look at the things that you want
What is going down, world? Welcome to the 40-year-old FUQ Boys podcast. I go by the name Black Pegasus. And man, I was just watching this clip and I don't know, it just kind of made me start remembering all the friends that I've had in my life and that sometimes I feel like I've lost. And I thought it was really interesting. So I want to dive into it, talk about, the friends in your life, the people you've kept close. Are people in your life that you love holding you back? Do you need to let them go? All these different things. This is kind of random for the channel, but man, this is what was on my heart, and I saw this. So let's go ahead and get into it. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, share, and comment on all of the content. But if you're really rocking with the vibe, hit that subscription button. We're about to hit 43,000 subs, but we want to get to 50K and then 100K. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get things started.
40-year-old fuck boys are back in town. 40. The boys are back in town. 40-year-old fuck boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. 40-year-old FUQ Boys podcast. Malt liquor for your ears. 40.
All right, without further ado, let's get things rolling. So I'm going to bring this video up that I was just looking at and see what we got going on. Now, in the chat or in the comments, let me know what's going on. Like, do you have friends? Do you feel like, that you need to let go, or your friends ill? I don't know. I'm in this new chapter of my life, fatherhood, right? And then I've always been, pursuing music and different stuff like that. And I've been kind of on the upscale, like always moving up with my life, like chasing music and, my dreams, trying to blow up as a hip hop artist and blow up with my business, throwing concerts and a bunch of other stuff. And a lot of people that I cherish have come in and out of my life. And this video resonated with me. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to pull it back just a little bit. We're just going to talk and vibe. This is a premiere, so if you happen to be looking at this and you left a super chat, thanking you now. And let's get into this darn thing. Don't forget, we just did a really good Harry Mack reaction with the reminders. It's going off, so check that out. I'm working on a bunch of other things. I have some freestyles that'll be dropping on the channel. One that was done at the podcast, another one that was done live at my concert. So check out the channel for that, plus my music video Prophecy coming. So soon. So all right, let's bring this back, and let's go get into it. So boom.
because of who they are and the choices that they're willing to make. The stories about friends leaving the hometown and no longer remembering where they're from is one that is told by society because society is the majority. The majority of people get left behind. If you look at the things that you want to get in life, there's a price for them. You don't buy everything you see in the mall. Why not? Because you don't want to pay the price. Just because you might think that a shirt or jacket is cool, just because you think an outcome is awesome, you might not be willing to make the trade. Winners and losers have the same goals. The goal doesn't make you unique. It's the willingness to pay the price that makes you unique. Because everyone wants to be.
The sacrifice. This is true. That kind of aligns with some of the messaging in my new album, Love of the Game. A lot of time it's the work and effort you put in, and when you put in that extra work, you have to sacrifice a bunch of things that the average person isn't willing to sacrifice. And I believe that's what they say, among average, most people are like C students, right? So for you to shine, you just have to put in that extra work. And I was definitely a C student, y'all. Definitely a C student. But with my work ethic in other avenues and my passion, I've excelled beyond, the average, at least in my market. And the goal is to, keep moving globally.
One of the reasons that I cut people out sooner than most is because I do not like the labels that they speak over me. One of the big things with identity is the labels that we say about ourselves. I am X, I am impatient, I am angry, I am whatever, right? I am poor. I don't like saying it.
I'm abundant, Rich forever. Abundance mindset. Let's go.
People in your past have the identity that they know you as, and then they will speak and they will beat that label into you because you're not matching their pattern. Why have you changed? You are X, you are Y, and you're trying to not be that because you're doing something different than changing, you're growing. But they see it as change. And that's why the best response in the world to someone who says, hey, you've changed, is to say, yeah, you haven't. The amount you like or love someone is directly proportional to what you are willing to give up to maintain the relationship. For example, if there's a piece of shit car, right, and you work on it all the time, you might say, that guy must really love it because of how much time he puts into that thing. This guy must really love his country because he's willing to give his life for it. What are you willing to give in exchange to maintain the relationship? If you're not willing to give up basically anything to maintain the relationship, then how much do you love them? I think it's been a very helpful filter for me to say, not do I love my friends, but which friends do I love the most? Which friends am I willing to sacrifice the most to keep the relationship? And I am a big believer in utility. There is an exchange in every relationship. You get something and they get something back. People don't like the idea that relationships are transactional, but they are.
This is true. Value, creating value when you work and network, and vice versa. If someone is a value to you, you're going to work with them. I see this in my industry all the time. That's one of the hardest things I had to learn. So for y'all that don't know, I'm a rapper, started trying to get concerts, and I remember trying to get shows. I was just trying to be like, yo, I'm so talented. You should put me on. You should pay me, blah, blah, blah. And in certain aspects, that's a value. But as time and technology changed and there were more and more rappers, what created value? And me personally, I remember I had to damn near tour manage, because my music hadn't sparked off at this time the way it has now. So I didn't have the value to sell tickets with just my name. So I had to do off-brand jobs like drive the artist around like a chauffeur or tour manager or help sell merchandise. And that was a value to, let's say, the headliner or their team, and they would put me on the concert. And it's kind of interesting how he's talking about value exchange, because that's one of the things I've learned throughout my career. Because, I went asking people for a bunch of things trying to get on. And the one thing that I realized that I skipped was showing that I had value. And that's really key.
Transactional just has a commercial vibe to it. But if we just think about it as from a behavior standpoint, you've got two things that can happen. A behavior is reinforced or it is punished. That's it. When you have exchanges, quite literally, with people, those exchanges are either reinforced or they're punished. Part of the strength of the relationship is how long you're willing to wait for the next time that relationship is reinforced. If you have a long history of positive experiences with a person, you're willing to wait a longer period of time if they're going through a breakup, they're having a hard time, to keep the relationship going. But at some point, even if you've been friends with somebody for 10 years, if there's just not any positive reinforcement, at some point, you do cut it off. The people who we're surrounded with when we grow up, it's very unlikely, just from a population standpoint, that they're going to be great. Statistically, that they're going to be the top 1% or 0.1% is unlikely. So it would make sense that you change your friends over time. Why do people get so weird about keeping relationships that don't serve them? I think it's just because we have a societal story around it, that you're a bad friend. But I could also think of me being as a good friend to my next friend that I just made room for. There's gonna be a friend who's gonna move in to my spot on my buddy's calendar, who does wanna do fantasy football, who does wanna drink with him on Sundays, so it's not this like, all right, I'll go to the game with you, but I'm not drinking. Oh, dude, you're not gonna, come on, man. Because the other guy's like, yeah, shots all around. And they're gonna have a blast. They would better be served with people who want the same things as them. Just because I'm not seeing them anymore doesn't mean that I don't wish them well. But if someone only tells you the stories of when you got fucked up and why you did that stupid thing, they're encouraging you and retelling you the story of who you used to be. And you want people around you who don't believe the lies you used to tell about yourself. The character trait shift is not a binary. It's how patient are you? How kind are you? How loyal are you? How honest are you? And so you want people who encourage you in the behaviors that you want to be like. And this is why like shedding identities is such a core part of entrepreneurship, is that you have to be willing to say, I am no longer this way. I will no longer behave in this way. And I don't accept that reality as truth.
Yo, everything he's saying is right on point. It's super deep. I don't know if he gets into this on this video, but that's one of the big things that you see entrepreneurs say over and over again. You become like the 5 people you hang around the most. And that's one of the things I've been taking literal this last couple of years, because where I want to go, I have like very big dreams, sorry. Burping. Sounded like I was about to cry, huh? But I have a lot of big dreams, and to get there, I started to see like some of my homies who are trapped in the hamster wheel and only see things one way. It's hard to have vision with those people and have the conversations, the brainstorming conversations you need to take things to the next level, because they can't see it or they're trapped in this certain mindset. And so as I start putting people around me who are advantageous and moving in the same direction, more things have happened. And it's funny because my friends are always going to be my friends, but you just don't have the time to hang out with that energy. And it's so strange because that energy holds you back. It's so hard to explain because you have so much love for these people and you want to see them grow and be successful. However, as you start to grow and change, to continue that growth, there is separation. And sometimes they hold you back if they're not growing or if they're going in the wrong direction. So it's a really interesting thing to be that self-aware and really take that look inside in the mirror at your friends, all these things. It's really important. I'm glad I found this video. This is pretty dope.
Many of the people I had around me, A, weren't willing to pay the price that I was willing to pay for the things that I wanted, but also wanted me to give them more than I was willing to. And so I'll give you a story that will paint me in a bad light, and that's fine. There was a teacher that I grew up with in high school, and he's the one who stayed with me after school for a year and worked out with me. 2 hours a day, and he taught me how to work out. I got in shape, got more confidence, better at school. From there, that snowballed into me getting into fitness. Huge catalyst snowball. Somebody heard that story and then found the teacher, and they linked us. He was like, hey man, I'm not asking for a lot. I would love to just have like a 2-hour call with you every week. I was like, a 2-hour call every week? I was like, I don't even talk to my mother that much. I don't talk to anybody that much. I talk to my wife, that's it. The value of the relationship was in the past. You may be like, Alex, you're a horrible person. And that's possible. Maybe I am. I was not willing to give 2 hours a week, 100 hours a year for the rest of my life to pay a debt for somebody who worked out with me. Because we only have so much juju, we only have so much time, we only have so much focus, so much energy that we can pour into things. And if you're not putting all your energy in one direction, it's scattered and then you don't move as fast. My closest friend, I spend 1 hour a week with every week. My closest friend, like clockwork. It's my highest priority meeting. It is something that brings me joy. And we get lots of exchange with one another. He's the one who helps me write my books, Dr. Kashi.
Dr. Kashi here.
I get a lot from that. Now, if I didn't get anything from that, over time, slow down the communication between us. I would make it every other week.
Yo, this is crazy. So I want to tell you guys a story because I actually feel like an a-hole because of this, because of my positioning, right? Like I throw concerts, I'm kind of popping on YouTube. I have a lot of things going on. Local rap artists always message me. They want me to listen to their music. They want to sit down and get yo, can we sit down and I want to brainstorm with you and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, bro, like I would love to brainstorm with you, but my time is precious. The time that I sit down and brainstorm over your album, and most of these people aren't even ready to really brainstorm, they're just saying it, is taking from my daughter, taking from my business, taking from my wife, taking from my goals at jiu-jitsu. So this value exchange that I brought up earlier is very important. And if you're an artist, a hip-hop artist, a musician, whatever, you got to think about the value you bring to the table, because like if someone sat down with me and was like, yo, and it was like an equal exchange, I'm like, yo, let's go. This is awesome. And that's what I have to realize too. And this has actually helped me because when I approach bigger artists, first and foremost, I don't get butthurt when they say no or they don't hit me back or respond. And it's the first thing is like, yo, I can make this happen, you know, blah, blah, blah. Hey, can you do this? And that's one of the things that I've done really well recently. I throw concerts and I book artists and I put money in their pocket to perform, national artists. And in return, a lot of them be like, yo, you're my dude. You've been helping us do shows for years. I'll get on your podcast. I'll do an interview with you. I'll do that. You know, I'm not asking too much. I'm asking for 15, 45 minutes of their time, but also my platform, now it's getting them in front of a different audience. And so it's this value exchange and people appreciate that. So out of this whole video, what I'm starting to take in is right there, because I feel like an a-hole, you guys. There's young artists, and I try to respond to certain emails when people are down and out of luck and da-da-da-da. But there's some stuff I just can't keep responding to because people remember me from 10 years ago. Yo, I met you at this show. I'm finally ready to do a song, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, well, I'm at this level now. I live off of music. I need to be compensated for my time. People get hurt. But I just want to sit down and brainstorm with you, bro. I just want to ask you a couple questions. I don't have that time. And it's weird because, I'm kind of passive at times. I've had to be a little more aggressive and not aggressive. That might not be in the word, but just, right. I just had to be more on point with the way I move and assertive. Assertive was the word I'm thinking of. And I just can't do all the things that I would love to do, man. And even my wife is like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I'm always on my computer working, trying to curate content, do this, that, and the other. She's like, hey, you've been on your phone, da-da-da-da. Like, you need to pay attention to us. And so it is interesting that he's hitting this one on the nose, because there's people in my past that you do feel like you owe forever. You're like, yo, I remember you sponsored, like when I had no money to pay rent, you sponsored this mixtape and it helped do this. Yikes. This reminds me of this homie who sponsored one of my mixtapes. 10 years later calls me and he's like, yo, I'm in jail in Mexico. Can you send me some money? And I felt guilty. And I sent him a couple $100. But then after that, he kept hitting me up for more money. And I was like, wow, this is like, I've learned a lot of things the hard way, unfortunately. And hopefully anyone watching this video, you might be able to learn the fast way and dodge some of the guilt trips, the money. Like, like if I have the money and you were a friend, I'm generous. But sometimes people, man, you'll be like, wow, people really think like this? That don't work.
A month. If you slow down your communication cadence with someone, how frequently you see them and when you accept invitations, it naturally fizzles. But if it gets to a point where if someone's like so close that it would be obvious and a conversation needs to be had, I encourage you to just have it. You want to be a kind person. And the way you are kind is that you tell the truth. And you just be honest. And the easiest way that I can tell you to be honest is, when you talk about somebody behind their back, just say it to them. It's like, yeah, Sandra's been like all over the place lately. And she's like, I don't know, drinking a little bit too much. Sandra, you've been all over the place lately. You've been drinking a little bit too much. I'm just not sure if I want to associate with that right now. People just don't have the balls to do that. But if you do that, I promise you'll either have better relationships or you'll be done with this Mickey Mouse bullshit of not even being in a real relationship and not wanting to confront reality. Because you may have a shot at getting them to realize that they're not on the path that they wanted to be on. Because you were friends with them at some point. And so either your goals have changed or theirs have. If you listen to Kobe's interviews where he talks about his friends,
he was hitting some stuff on the nose, like being direct with people. I've always had problems with that. Like I've always been like in a roundabout way trying to get the info. And the moment I started being way more direct with people, just more things, my relationships have been way more fruitful, for sure, no question. Especially in the industry I am in, the music industry, like this is no holds barred. So like the more direct you are with people, the more you can get out of it or cut to the chase faster. You can just either end relationships, flourish or whatever. But like, being in limbo with people it's not a good look.
Says very explicitly that he's willing to put everything on the altar for his dream. Now, some people make the argument that that's not, quote, healthy. The question that we're answering here is not how do we do healthy stuff? The question is how do we become the greatest? People will judge you on how you spend time, and their judgments are simply expressions that they would not spend their time the same way you do. Hey, you work a lot. And I could say, hey, you don't. To the same degree, it's like, you spend so much time with your kids. Right? If I say it like that, people are like, wait, no, I'm supposed to. It's only the supposed to that's the thing that gives all the emotional charge to these conversations. Otherwise, it's just observing reality. You can't expect to do the same thing everyone else is doing and then somehow achieve a different outcome. Once you have the vacuum of friends, because you'll probably have weeded people out, then the best thing to do is join communities. And then you'll make friends with people in those communities who have the same goals as you. And then if you crush it, because you understand that volume is the answer and time is the ingredient, you're going to rise in that community. And you'll
friends, how many of us have them? I ain't gonna lie, man. This chapter of my life right now has been kind of lonely in the sense like I was chasing something with my jujitsu a little bit. and there's a dope community. I have a bunch of dope friends from there. But as I have shifted into this space where I really, really want to blow up in YouTube and my business industry, I just have to spend more time, trying to book these concerts, speak with my friends, strategize, create content, work on my freestyle, whatever it is that I'm working on. And it's so interesting because I'm not lonely because I'm always doing stuff, but like, I got a couple of homies that I talk to, but like me and Don, y'all know Don, like me and him talk all the time. But if it isn't him, it's like, my friendships where it's like, yo, let's build, let's clown. It's like, it's just so interesting. It's literally, I talk to Don like that. I got one other buddy, Trav, that we talk like that now and then, but we don't get into the buddy stuff as me and Don. And, sometimes I feel like, I don't know if I feel lonely, but they say it's lonely at the top. What did Guru say? They say it's lonely at the top, and whatever you do, you always got to watch mother around you. Anyways, yeah, man, just thinking about it. But like, I've been so much more productive in the last 5 years of my life than my whole life. I've created and generated more wealth in the last 3 to 5 years than my whole entire life. Those 3 to 5 years, I've literally, created a whole different lifestyle. And I look back on the life that I lived. I had a bunch of friends. We're doing all this stuff, but I was poor. Things weren't happening as fast as they could have. And not blaming them. A lot of my head was in the wrong place. I was womanizing, just focused on chasing chicks. That took a ton of my energy. This is a very good video that he put out.
Gain more status, and you'll start hanging out with the people who are at the top of that community, and then you can leapfrog into other communities. It's just lunch tables on steroids. I've wanted to live a rare life, and so I will have to be surrounded by rare people, and rare people are by definition rare. They're not common. My hope is that the people that I meet now are trying to go all the way with me. I want to do epic shit. If I die and don't do epic shit, I will be bummed. How much am I willing to endure or sacrifice in order to maintain that relationship that I have with my dream? If I have many, many friends over different seasons, I'm totally cool with that. Thank you for that season. It was awesome. I don't believe things need to be forever to be good. And it's only the romantic story that we were told of friends for life, etc. If you die with one good friend or two good friends, like, you've had a really good life. I have shed
You know what's crazy about this?
friends.
He said something that scares me. I can't lie, it scares me because I have really high goals and aspirations that I work towards every day. And it does take a lot of sacrifice, and I do sacrifice a lot. And I don't know how this works. You guys let me know in the chat or the comments how this works, but I'm not willing to sacrifice my time with my daughter. And I get nervous about that because I'm like, yo, I'm going to make it, become a millionaire, but I'm going to spend time with my daughter. I really want to be heavy, prevalent in her life. And I want to make that type of money where it allows me that financial freedom to do that. That's all I'm focused on. I've been reading this book, Think and Grow Rich, again. And, just living in that mindset of you are this, you are the millionaire, you are the money, that abundance mindset is very helpful. A lot of things start to just, align themselves as long as you're working, taking action, strategizing, working with the right people. There's things I'm missing that a lot of the entrepreneurs talk about. Mentorship. I could really use a really good mentor. Maybe talking about it here is putting the intention in there. As I kind of want to get into like some real estate stuff, I really could utilize like a really solid mentor. There's so much there, but man, I have unadulterated love for my daughter, and I just want her to be able to see her father growing up and be close. I don't want to be the drop her off at the babysitter, drop her off with the grandparents all the time. I want to be in her life, active, cheering her on in her sports endeavors and all of that stuff. And I wondered, is that one of the things that puts you to the point where it's like, oh, that was the sacrifice you had to make to become the best, to become the greatest? Because the one thing, when I study the greats, they typically sacrifice everything and they're obsessed. And then they come back and it's like, their kids are like, yeah, well, I didn't see my dad much because, he was doing this, he was doing that. And that's what made their father the greatest. And sometimes you can see resentment in the children because they didn't understand it. And some are like, yo, my father's the greatest. I'm so proud of him. I love him for that. And, it is what it is. We're catching up now. That's where I don't think I have the answer yet. I guess maybe as I continue with this channel, you guys will see that journey. But that's one of the things that kind of eats at me because I'm willing to, how that song, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Oh, no, but I won't do that. Man, I'm going to make it, and we're going to ball, you guys. All of us, we going to ball together. Woo! But, man, I want to be in my daughter's life heavily. That's something that, in my little book that I try to look at from time to time where you write down your goals, that's one of, one of the first thing is like millionaire. Then it's like good father, good husband, great martial artist, but the first one is millionaire because it's just like even the success I've had in my life currently being in my daughter, like getting to take my daughter to her swimming lessons and gymnastics, that all comes because of the type of business I have. I'm my own boss, and typically I make my own schedule. Now, sometimes I got to juggle things around, important things come up, but typically I get to do what I want. And that has come from, being my own boss and having that financial freedom. That's interesting. Now I'm rambling, you guys. You guys are probably like, dude, shut up, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm just keeping it real. Anyways, I really like this video. So I'm not familiar with this. I think Don follows this homie. I'm new. Alex Hormozi. I don't know if I'm saying that properly. Alex Hormozi, but one of his videos popped up. I clicked on it. It gave a lot of value, and I was like, okay. And now I don't even know if I'm subscribed. I probably should subscribe to his channel because every video that I've kicked or put on, I found some type of value to it. And I know this is super random, but I just wanted to play it today and do a little video. You know what I'm saying? Get it popping in the hood. But anyways, let's keep things moving. Appreciate everyone who's tapped in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, comment on all the content. Most importantly, subscribe. Really want to get to 100K subs. I can't do that without you and you guys sharing the content, so I really appreciate you guys. Also, some of our videos have been demonetized, copyright claims, stuff like that. So if you do want to support, even when this video is over, in the like button area, you can scroll over and there's something called a super thank you, and you can put a super thank you. Again, helps us keep the lights on, all that good stuff, and it's appreciated. Thank you, but it's not required. All that we really ask is that you hit this with a like and a comment. So other than that, you guys, appreciate the love. Please appreciate you tapping in with your boy Black Pegasus, and I'm working on some cool stuff. There's a huge rapper named Gremlin on YouTube. He almost has 1 million subs, and I'm going to bring him in here, do a podcast with him very soon. Actually, in 2 weeks. I just locked it in today, so that'll be awesome. He blew up rapping to girls in Ubers and deep, soulful type of raps. So I'm excited to get him in here. Bunch of other content on the way. So, hey, keep enjoying and keep spreading the word. And on that note, I'm going to get the F out of here. You guys, you know what it is. 40!
Thank you for being some man. 40 years down the road, back again. FUQ.